Welcome to In the Moment with Courtier Kuzan, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. Terrific Tuesday out there to everyone, and we're happy to have you back on the program. Hey, folks, or should I say my friends and family that are out there, hey, all of you that's listening under the sound of my voice, you know this is a call-in talk show, so hey, we're looking for your feedback and really ready to engage you in any and all conversations. So why don't you call us at our local number at 318-484-2500 and toll free at 877-464-2500. It's been some very dynamic topic and subject matter that's been happening. And I mean, we kind of started all the way back since the culmination of the beginning of the radio show, where we came out with being a mentor from children to adults, and then, you know, going into the area of success on different levels, what it takes to get there to be successful. But, you know, today, folks, we're really going to be talking about a particular point of, or should I say, a topic that really a lot of people really overlook. And it still falls into the line of being successful. But, you know, that thing that we seem to want most in life, did you ever consider something that we want most may be the exact same thing that we may have the greatest fear of? And what am I talking about? You know, we're going to be addressing, why do people actually fear success? I mean, really. And it sounds like, what do you mean, fear success? But, you know, before we really get into all of that, hey, why don't you connect with us on our social media? You know, that's In the Moment with Courtier Kuzan throughout, you know, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all the little, you know, social media outlets that are out there. And then also, why don't you connect with us on the website at In the Moment with CourtierKuzan.com. That's In the Moment, KORTIACOUSIN.com. And when you go there, you'll see I'll have a free gift for you to download, a book that I actually wrote called A Relationship Created by Impossible. I mean, it'll be a powerful blessing to your life. So, folks, connect with us on social media, on the website, and, you know, we have the call-in number. So let's get right into it. Why do people fear success? You know, when this actually came to me, and when, you know, how the Lord actually was breaking all of this stuff down with me, he says that, you know, a lot of people will come to me and ask me for different things and seek my guidance in certain areas of their lives. And, you know, it lines up with the plan and purpose that I actually have for their lives. But then once they start to actually walk into it, you know, they start to get fearful. And I was just like, well, you know, that doesn't make sense. But then, you know, God had to start showing me things as far as like in his word and giving me examples, you know, as far as like when the children of Israel came out of Egypt. And then, you know, I said, well, God, you know, I understand all of that, but why don't you make it a little bit more personal? Well, he allowed me to see different phases of my own life, okay? You know, I tell everyone, you know, like I said, been in the corporate world and, you know, a lot of background as far as like in the restaurant industry, customer service industry in different areas. And, you know, like I tell everyone, you know, I didn't start just coming like out of college like some people. I had to start from the ground up. I mean, it went from washing dishes to having more than, you know, 50 to 100 employees that had to answer to me. But, you know, it was a progression that happened. But what I realized is that the higher I rose up the ranks is that even though I was becoming more successful, it seemed like there was always this type of anxiety or fear that was just always right there. Something that always was just saying, hey, you know, you're not qualified for this. You really think you're going to be able to do the job? And then you start getting these little internal questions about, you know where you came from. You know how it was. You started out from a dishwasher. I mean, really raised up in the household where, you know, most people failed out of high school, didn't complete high school. Out of your entire family, which is massive, you only got maybe 2 college graduates. You know, all of these different things that just come flooding into your brain. And you know exactly where those thoughts come from, because, you know, the one from above isn't trying to give you those things. So, you know, the one that's from below is always trying to hinder the progress of what the Lord has in store for you. But in saying that, think about this. A lot of people, when they're in situations, when they're progressing to their levels of success, we think about, okay, I'm all alone by myself. Okay, you just think you're all alone. And that's one of the greatest things that cause people to have fear on that pathway to success. And it's this: where is your support? Do you have a support system? And you might say, well, what is a support system? I mean, we've been talking about mentoring and other things through this entire journey through success. Is there someone that you can actually go to for sound advice? Okay. Is there someone that can let you know that you may need a course correction? I mean, folks, friends, look, even when it actually seems like they're trying, you may take it as, okay, well, they're being kind of hurtful. I mean, man, I didn't really ask them to just come and let me know just straight out. Sometimes we need to get a straight to the point word from someone to actually jar us back into, or should I say shift us back onto that pathway that's necessary for us to go and achieve a certain level of success in our lives. Because let's just be real with it. How many of us out there to where we actually start doing something and it seems like we may not be accomplishing whatever our goal is, and just so that we're feeling down, we're feeling like we just can't go on. We know we start to have a little depression starts to creep in on us, and all we want to do is just have someone to, agree with our just down state, to just try to validate what we're going through. But if you have a true support system out there, that support system is going to say, hey, look, they're going to start roll calling things to you, okay? Just like my support system. Do you see how God brought you from this and you were able to do this? And, you were able to go before people that, are making like millions of dollars a year, and they were coming to you and seeking you for advice in certain matters. And, you've built rapport with different people. And this is based on the support system that you have. And a lot of times we cannot overlook the type of support system that we have. And what do I mean by that? Is that sometimes, as I said yesterday, we're always looking to individuals who we've defined as successful primarily by, what's on the exterior, what they wear, what they drive, where they live. That may not be the individual that you actually need to have in your life. You may need to have someone that's actually, pretty much, in the grind per se, and doing some of the things that you're doing to go along their own pathway of success, to where your support system is actually someone that's actually going to hold you accountable. All right. To where you call each other, say like once a night, to where you can actually get together and, talk about, the victories you've had, maybe some of the downfalls that you've had, something that may be slowing you down in the process of, your pathway to success. But you've got to have a support system. And another thing, okay, all right, this is probably the simplest thing that you can actually say when it comes to actually breaking that fear barrier of why is there fear in people's lives when they start to go towards, success. And it's, you've got to have a plan. I mean, I cannot tell you how many people I have actually spoken to. And hey, like I said, first partaker, this was me in the beginning, okay? They're talking about, yes, I'm going to be successful. And like I said, I have background in restaurants and whatnot. And this is going to really astound you. People have actually come to me, okay? People have actually come to me and they said, hey, Court, look, I know you've got like over 20 some odd years as far in the restaurant industry, and you know how to do it from the ground floor up, from the foundation, the walls, everything, getting started, health codes, all of this different stuff. Hey, help me get into the restaurant business. I'm like, great. See the drive, see the energy now. Okay, now start telling me about your background. Let me know what's going on with that. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Okay, why do you want to be in the restaurant industry, or why do you want to do a certain aspect of possibly maybe get a franchise? And the thing they actually tell me, and you're going to probably fall out of your chair, I hope you're not driving when you hear this, is that the biggest thing they've told me is, well, I like the food. I'm like, okay. No, really, I like the food. I'm like, you mean to tell me you want to get into the restaurant industry and become a franchisee of a big chain just because you like the food? You've got no food experience, you have no background, you have no management experience, but you want to get into the restaurants because you like the food. And you might say, no, Court, are you being serious? Yeah, I'm being very serious. See, a lot of people out there, they make an emotional decision of what they think it is to be successful. And this is a big nugget for somebody. You can't make an emotional decision and base, what success is off an emotional decision. And you don't have a definite plan that will carry you out through, the first few months, okay, through your first year. I mean, the saying goes, if you don't plan, you already have planned to fail, okay? So one way or another, You're either going to plan for your success or you're going to plan for your failure. And the thing is that, if you're thinking about having an investor in your life, and, I actually came to a very hard lesson myself personally with this. What would it be like to where you had your plan, okay? And I'm just letting you know that even though you may have your plan, you've got to be sure that people are actually lining up with your plan if you've actually kind of pretty much laid out what you want to do in front of people. You've got to make sure that they're on board with you. You really need to find out exactly if they're really there with you for the duration. Because, folks, how many times have we actually had people say, hey, I'm there with you. I'm going to be there with you to the end. And then when things start to get a little rocky or a little shaky, they back out on you. Or you know how we say in Louisiana, they crawfish on you, okay? They keep going back to make sure that they distance themselves from you. And then, out of your presence, they will tend to say, well, I really didn't think that was going to work anyway, but I just didn't want to hurt their feelings. So make sure you have a plan that you can actually follow. And then, of course, as I said before, in your support system, make sure you run your plan by someone that may have been, where you've been, or they have experience in an area to see if you have a viable plan, a plan that actually makes sense. Okay, so don't go into it with, what is that thing? Champagne wishes and caviar dreams and all of that. Okay, it's okay to see the end where you want to be, but let's start at the beginning. Okay, it's key to know exactly where you are starting so you'll know where you end up. And friends, it's really important, and I know I'm just stressing this part about a plan. It's the same thing with everything that happens. It's the same thing for whatever area of your life that you're going in to where you want to be successful. Men, that you're listening to this right now, even in your marriages, you have got to have a plan. Even in your marriage, you might say, well, I'm married. Okay, what are you talking about having a plan? I've got to have a systematic plan to have things be worked out each and every day. You have, like we continually say, you have got to be intentional in every area of your life. Intentional. And some of you right now, another nugget, if you don't have a plan, men, and it seems like your wives always maybe harping on you or asking you, what are you going to do about this or what are you going to do about that? Well, guess what? It's about having a plan so she can be included upon it, because why? What's the Bible say? She is your help meet. So give her something to do. Let her be a part of the plan that the Lord has given you to increase the vision in your life so that you can have a greater success, not only for your family, your community, your surrounding area, but, walk into the fullness of what he's actually created you for. Friends, it's dynamic, it's important, but work on having your plan. Definitely work on having your plan. And it's necessary to have that plan to actually see where you're going. And I tell you, it's something that we're going to be touching on more today, but why do people fear success? What is it that they need to actually put in front of them to get over that hurdle of fear and success? And when we come back from break, we're going to get right back in your moment. You're listening to In the Moment with Courtier Cousin on the official OPT network. Hey, I just wanted to say good morning to Central Louisiana. All right, Natchitoches, Gina, and Alexandra that's listening on 88.1 FM. Monroe, West Monroe on 98.9 FM. Shreveport, Greenwood on 92.5 FM. St. Joseph, Natchitoches, Mississippi on 99.3 FM. And Lake Charles on 100.1 FM. And folks and friends, family, all of you, you can dial in locally to 318-484-2500 and toll free at 877-464-2500 with your questions, comments, or whatever that you may have. And of course, reach out to us, as I said before, through social media at In the Moment with Courtier Cousin, and on our Facebook, or should I say on our website, In the Moment with CourtierCousin.com. All right. Interesting topics that we're having up in here today, and we're talking about why do people fear success. And our first points that we went over are having a support system and making sure that you actually have a plan on your way to success. But look, even though you've got a support system, even though you have a plan, what are your priorities? What are the priorities that you have? What are you actually striving towards? Okay, what are your priorities for this new role, this new phase that you have in your life? What do you actually need to achieve in like the first week, the first month, the first quarter? Now, why am I saying that? A lot of us, if you hear people talk about making goals, okay, and a lot of times when people make goals, it's just a generalization. And what do I mean by generalization? Hey, I want to be a millionaire. Okay. Well, you're at point one, or should I say point A, and then a millionaire is like point Z. All right. And then there's no actual priorities, or there are no goals from that point A to get you all the way to point Z. It's just that, okay, a lot of people say, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to just have a lot of drive. Well, I'm going to just let you know now, within like the first 90 days, you can work as hard as you want. You can have all the drive that you want. But if it seems like you're not making any headway whatsoever, you're going to burn out. Okay, you are definitely going to burn out. And that's what we don't want to have. So what do you want to actually achieve in that first month? That first week, first month, the first quarter? Have goals that are really attainable. I mean, it may seem foolish, but I mean, have what I would like to call no way you can possibly fail type goals, whatever it is. It may be within my first week, I may go to solicit or get business from, or actually make a contact with a business in the first week. That can be your first goal. And if you've done that, whether they become partners with you or whether they don't become partners with you, it's a success. Okay. It's a marker on your pathway to success. If you want to actually get in shape more, it's as you would like to call it, or as we say in the business profession, we call those milestones. Okay. And you've got to have something that you can actually reach forward to. I really want to point out, family, this. On your way to success, you've got to have something to where you can actually look back and have a track record to say, okay, I have a track record, I'm doing this. And whether people get on board with your plan or don't get on board with your plan, you have to show that you have actually put forth the effort. Okay, and it's a check in the win column for you. You might say, well, I didn't get, the deal. I didn't get the promotion. But if you've done what you needed to do, then guess what? It is a check mark in the win column. It is a check mark in your success column. Because as I've said before, you cannot measure success by what others or what the world says success is. You have to use your own measuring stick. Or if you really want to get into it, you've got to use the measuring stick that God has laid out, because as long as you're using that measuring stick, there's going to be a plan that's going to be included with it. Okay. And also, ask yourself, are you focused? Okay. Do you have priorities that are actually focused on your tasks, your targets? Okay. Your people that you need to meet. Are you structured? What kind of culture are you surrounding yourself with? What is your actual mood or your vision? I mean, all of this is actually important. We said on Monday, when you get up, do you have a oh-hum attitude of like, oh, it's Monday. Okay, let's just go ahead and get this going. And then, for the first 30 minutes after your alarm clock goes off, you're trying to motivate and pump yourself up. That's one thing that can actually be one of those milestones in your life, to actually get up each day and say, something, this is my day. Scripture says the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, the violence take it by force. Okay. So get up, meaning that you get up with the energy and attitude to basically, as you would like say, go and take your mountain. Go forth with an energy, with a drive to actually say you're going to be intentional about what you do. And literally, you're going to have your eyes open to what's in front of you. No matter how great it is, an opportunity, or how small, you're going to go forth. And you're going to go ahead and take that. And then what kind of personal impression do you want to make from the outset? So what is it? What type of impression are you actually going to make? Okay. Are you actually going to present yourself as being the go-to individual? Now, you may not be the person right now where you are listening to this. You may not be the person right now, whether it's like on the professional side or the personal side. You may not be where you want to be right now. And like I said, it's a progression. It's something that we have to do. It takes some time, but you may not be exactly where you want to be right now. But what are you doing to actually get success down on the inside of you? If you're actually in the, let's just say personal, okay? If for whatever reason you aren't taking strides each and every day to make things in your personal life better, okay? A lot of you might say, well, this sounds like faking, but if you're going through as far as like in your marriage, husbands or wives, you may be having problems. And I tell people about this all the time, since this is, a big ministry that God has given me. You get up as a spouse and you imitate Christ. A lot of us don't realize you're actually not responsible for the one that God has placed in your life. You're only responsible for yourself, because each and every person has their own walk. Now, that's the same thing in your personal and your professional life. You're not responsible for what everyone else is doing, okay? But you have your own walk. You have your own assignments. But the thing is that you have to walk your walk. All right. You cannot base your walk upon what other individuals are doing. You have to be the best possible person that, the Lord has actually called you to be. I say this all the time. You cannot use the measuring stick of what men are telling you, but you have to use the measuring stick that God has for you. And then, of course, what are your values and what is your leadership style? What are your values? Are you trying to, do every underhanded thing to get ahead in life? I mean, are you pretty much like a reed that's blowing in the wind? You change to and fro. Are you double-minded out there? What is it? Are you just like steadfast in your commitment? What are your actual values? If you had a business partner, okay, if you had a business partner right now, and you started a business together, and then all of a sudden someone caught on to an idea that you had that may not be really popular out there, familiar, and they see like, wow, I can see how to really make a lot of money off of this, and you may have a slight rapport with these individuals, but your business partner doesn't, and this individual approaches you with like, I don't know, obscene amounts of money to buy you out. And you may not have had anything written on paper initially with the person that you're in business with, but then all of a sudden you say, oh, man, I cannot pass up this opportunity. I'm going to take this money. Now, folks, friends, family, look, you've got to realize that it's about having values, being ethical. And the same thing like when you go to your personal life. You've got to have a standard to where if the enemy tries to draw you out to actually go against things that you've decreed as right as far as like in your family, you've got to have a value system to be maintained. So when we come back from break, we're going to get right up into this. And folks, I want you to continue to be in your moment. Good morning and welcome back to In the Moment with Cortia Kuzan. Dynamic time we're having in here today. I love it. I love it. Family, friends, it's getting pretty hot and heated up in here. We've been talking about a pathway to success. And folks, this has definitely been intentional because, look, right now, in this time, in this season that we have, it's really intentional for each and every one of us to actually make a conscious, okay? I said a conscious. And then, of course, as you repeat this to yourself, not only conscious, but let it get down into your subconscious of you actually being successful. And as I've said before, there are different levels of success for each and every one of us, but we should not be, okay? I know it, you've heard it so many times, but we should not be year after year after year after year in the same place, just going through the motions, living for the weekend, and, just barely scraping by. And some of you listening right now under the sound of my voice, I'm not trying to come down on anyone, but some of you right now under the sound of my voice, some of you may have very good salaries out there, and, you're like, hey, I'm fine. I'm happy where I am. But, I know the Bible actually tells us that we're blessed to be a blessing. And, it's really important that, we reach back to our communities to actually help individuals to actually come up a little bit higher to where as you help them, they can turn around and help another. Because, God actually had to let me know it's not possible for me to reach everyone. But if I can just reach that one, okay, not everyone, but if I can just reach that one, it may be the individual that actually starts off a chain reaction, becomes the catalyst that goes about bringing a change that's been necessary for so long wherever we are. Okay, so we're talking about why do people fear success? And again, a lot of people just listen and, they want to find out exactly what it is that you mean. And that's why I'm just saying, folks, just call in at the numbers at the local number 318-484-2500 or toll free at 877-464-2500 because we value your input. And we really want to find out what is it that's actually causing people to fear success. And, one of the things that, like I said, next point that I want to really emphasize and go into is, success is, for some people, they feel like they need to be in control of everything. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. You call them a control freak. You would call them over compulsive. I mean, you call them A-type personalities. And of course, my wife is waving in the background over there. Whatever you want to say, what is it that causes people to have fear of success? Well, they fear on a certain level of, what is actually your control. And then, of course, what's outside of your control. That's something you actually have to figure. Okay. Now, the things that are actually in your control, all right, whether it's coming together as far as, structuring out what you want to have happen in your household, how you want possibly your kids to act, if you're single, okay, having a regimen of, what you want to do in your household as far as like getting up a little earlier, maybe as far as like in prayer, saying out your goals for your life, your affirmation that you have, going and working out, whatever it may be. Okay, whatever it may be, take care and do those things that are in your control. Now, the things that are outside of your control, meaning things that, are set by people that are in basically your company as far as like with you, or should I say in connection with you, people that you work with, individuals by chance that you come, into contact with every day. And everyone has like their own plans or things that they want to do in a day. Even if you apparently don't have a plan, guess what? You also have a plan, because instead of you being proactive to take, active strides in bringing about, that success that's necessary to happen in your life, you're going to be reactive, okay, to where if something happens, you're just going to have all type of calamity, all type of emotional ups and downs. You've got this tsunami of things that are coming against you, and you're like, well, why is all of this stuff happening to me? Because guess what? People make plans to actually receive the backlash of actually not making a plan when they're on their pathway to success. And those are some things that can be out of your control. But again, be intentional and knowing what you can control and what you cannot control, because a lot of people get hung up on this, because when a lot of us are going towards where God wants us to be successful, we think that everything must be ours, that we must have our hand in everything. But, we need to cast our cares to us back to God and say, okay, God, I'm going to do every single thing that I can do. But then I know there are certain things that I'm unable to do. I don't see the person that I'm going to meet, 2 weeks down the road. I don't see the opportunity that's going to pop up a month down the road. I don't see how you're going to elevate me in front of many people a year down the road. I don't see any of that stuff. So things that are actually out of your control, let go and let God. You might say, well, wow, I hear that every day. Well, there might be a reason you might be hearing that every day. You need to let go and let God, because that might actually be the thing that releases that burden and that stress, that pain, that frustration, brings your blood pressure down. Where you can actually start sleeping at night. Only be focused on things that you can control on your pathway to success. Okay? Now, what kind of balance do you actually need? Okay? And what I mean by this, what balance do you need to actually, strike between, observing, listening, questioning, and maybe communicating and making decisions when you decide that you actually are ready to take action? So what's the proper balance? What's the balance that you actually need to have in your life? And this is actually really difficult as far as like, let me just talk from a man's standpoint. God has us actually so hardwired to be like providers and actually want to just solve problems, okay? Even a lot of times, men, when you're married, to where when your wife just wants you to actually listen, and the first thing that you perceive is that it's something that's an issue with her and you want to solve it, okay? It's not that you're trying to be, mean or anything about it. It's just that a lot of us, we just don't want our wives to just like go through any kind of frustration whatsoever, and, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is. And you just want to try to solve the issue. But sometimes it's just a matter of you listening. But that balance can just get knocked out of whack to where you can be so driven to be a provider, to be successful as far as like in your families. And this is for some ladies out there too. I'm not excluding ladies on this, okay? But some of us could be so driven as far as like in our career to where, our families are really falling by the wayside, and there really has to be a balance. And, it was hard in the beginning, and, my wife would actually say that a lot of times when I came home from work, she'd ask me about work, and she would say, well, how was it? I was just like, fine. Now, I could have had all types of things that, people would have made you want to run and pull your hair out at work. But I actually had made a decision that I wasn't going to bring what was happening on the job to the house. And, it took me a long time to actually get to that point just because I didn't want the emotional frustration to spill over on my wife and on my children. But that's actually really hard for someone because they kind of see that everything is gelled together. And yes, that is your life. That is your total life, okay? But you need to realize that there has to be a balance. You've got to have that balance as far as like spending time, with God. If God is first and foremost in your life, then of course time with your family. And then like I tell people, everything else that falls after it. And, having balance means actually having proper order. Now, I'm just going to let you know what it is in my life. I can't say what it is in your life. My life is, first and foremost, is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. After that is my wife. After that is my kids. And then I just pretty much put everything after that lines up depending upon how God wants me to structure. And, some of you might say, well, isn't it like church? No, church doesn't come before your spouse sometimes. But, the thing that you really need to know is that you need to seek God in what it is was supposed to be paramount in your life. But you need to have balance, okay? So, next. Whom do you need to actually influence the most? Who do you need to influence the most? And you might be like, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. We all have people that are in our realm of influence. And, I've been talking about mentoring and different things. We've been going through that for the last week. And we have a realm of influence with people that we don't even realize that we have a realm of influence with. Because people are always looking at you. People are always observing you, okay? You may not realize it, but people are always looking at your lives, seeing what you're doing, wanting to know how you're getting to this, wondering. And look, we have people that are there in the background. They're like rooting you on because it's like motivation for them. It's like, wow, if Lester or if Jane or, if Rick or, if Leroy or whoever it is, if they're doing it, I can do it. And they may not be saying that to you, but they're looking at your life. But then, of course, they have other individuals that may be looking at your life. And because you are actually, for whatever reason, finally made the decision. Okay, you've actually crossed the street from actually the inadequacies, but actually said, okay, I'm crossing the street. I made the decision. I'm going to do what's necessary to go forward, to go to this level of success that I see on the inside of me, this picture, this seed that's been planted on the inside of me. I'm going to take the necessary steps to do it. Well, then, we actually talked about that whole crab mentality before, to where you can actually be going towards where, the Lord wants you to be. And then not everyone is going to be with you. That's why, one of the funniest things I've ever heard, and it just didn't hit me until I've been saved for about 18, 19 years now. And then, of course, I've heard individuals say that, you don't want to tell anybody about what's going on into your life. Or they put this in how can I use this analogy as far as like with a home? Don't tell anybody about your blessing, especially like when it's a home, until you actually have the U-Haul truck pulling up to the doorway. And, it's the same thing because for whatever reason, and we're being real, some individuals out there cannot take it when another person is actually walking in the plan and purpose that God has given them, and they're starting to gain traction on being successful. And, God had to show me, just because it's shining a light on them of what they can be doing and they're not doing. And that's how one of the ways that we can actually be influential. And it's just like God's word, and it's just like your success. It's either going to draw people towards you or it's going to push people away from you. But you have to be very conscious and cognizant of what your influence is and the impact your influence can actually have on the individuals that actually are around you, whether it's like on your boss, your team members, your peers, with the people that you actually network with. You need to be very conscious and, like I said, cognizant of your influence that you have. And it's very interesting and how we do this. But folks, why do people fear success? And you want to know something? We're going to get right back into it when we come back, because you're in your moment. We're back to In the Moment with Quartia Kuzan. We're talking about why do people fear success? The primary thing that's actually comes out about people fearing success is that, family, look, no matter what decision that you make, no matter how great, no matter how small, when it comes to taking strides to your success, it's all about, that comfort zone. It's what's familiar, or should I say, the main thing that comes to me that, God revealed to me, what I've heard people say, everything that you will do, and you can take this to the bank, everything that you will do on your way to success, if you truly are taking the necessary steps to walk towards that level of success in your life, you are going to be uncomfortable. You're going to hear us say that. You're going to hear me say that so many different times. You have got to get out of your comfort zone. I've said before, what I'm doing right now, for everyone that's on the sound of my voice, this is brand new to me, but I walked through this door because God opened this door, because this is on the pathway where he is taking me, he's taking my family, and it's primarily, like I said, to be a blessing unto others. So yes, we're walking in our level of success, but we haven't reached where we need to go. Everything is a transition. Everything is a progression. So in saying that, on your way to success, okay, and why people actually fear success, do you really understand, your culture, the politics, the things that are happening around you, okay? Are you basing your success as far as on, what people are telling you? And what I mean by this, how many of us out there have possibly started businesses or done things just because people have said, hey, I think you'd be great to do this. Okay, wow, you just seem to have a knack for this. Yeah, hey, you've been doing this for X amount of whatever it is, days, time, weeks, months, years, okay? And it's not in your spirit. It's not in your heart. You need to actually check your heart to see what kind of heart condition that you may have when it comes to walking into what it is that you're actually pursuing. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there in the professional world. And, like I said, I'm first partaker. I used to be one of these. I used to actually take jobs based upon the salary that was attached to it. Yeah. You go out there, $70,000 a year jobs, and I go there, working these jobs. And then all of a sudden, about 6 months to a year into it, I'm just like, oh, my Lord, I really despise working at this place. Now, flourishing, doing great, but my heart wasn't in it, okay? And if my heart wasn't in it, then guess what? It started to show up as far as in my approach and my energy and in my drive. And people that are subordinates that may be under you in a situation like that, whether you realize it or not, they feed off of what's going on with you if you are their supervisor. And that's not the type of success or success that you may want to have, because you shouldn't make decisions based upon simply the dollar amount. So many of us are unhappy right now in jobs that we're in, and I'm not telling anyone right now to go ahead and quit their job. I'm telling you, first and foremost, if you don't have your heart into what it is that you're actually doing, you may have to actually seek guidance, seek guidance from the Lord first and foremost. That's what I do. And then, of course, talk to your spouse or talk to someone that's actually close to you and let them know what's going on the inside of you. I mean, it doesn't make sense for you to be unhappy professionally and that spills over into your profession, your personal life. But you need to see how the culture is actually the thing that may actually be driving you or may actually be hindering you. Because a lot of things that may actually stop your success is that you're trying to come out with an approach or with a business, or you're trying to reach people and you're not able to actually connect with the culture and everything that's around you. Okay, reach them where they are so they can actually receive you or receive what you have. Okay, and then who will actually give you the honest feedback that you need? It kind of goes into almost the first point that we had when we talked about, a support system. You need someone to actually critique you on this pathway. And look, family, it's about this. You've got to take the hard hits. I mean, you really, really do. All the time. This is one thing. My family wasn't the greatest when I was growing up, but believe me when I tell you, when it came to them telling you straight, they would tell you straight. If you were doing something that was good, hey, good job. If you did something that was foolish, they would more than let you know if you did something foolish. But you need to have someone that's going to give you constructive criticism that's actually going to help you to go towards each and every milestone in your life. So that, like I said, it's a progression. It's a alignment. You may need to actually say pull off the side on the road on that highway to success, reevaluate what's going on, do a little fine tuning, and get right back on the highway. I'm not saying turn around. I'm just saying pull off to the side momentarily to make that tune up to where you can keep going down that pathway of success into your life. And you need to actually, as you're doing constructive feedback, getting it from people, to, evaluate your performance, so they can actually help you understand the perceptions and everything that people may have about you. You may not realize that some people may look at you in an adverse way just because of how you present yourself, how you project yourself, how you say certain things. And even if you don't have this $1 million a year business right now, what's stopping you from actually getting up in your best dress, your best slacks, whatever it may be, and actually walking around in different areas? And, when you go forth, just to actually carry yourself. The one thing that you need to realize, to be successful, sometimes you've got to dress successfully, okay? You actually have to see yourself successfully. Now, if you're out there and you get up every single day, you've got your T-shirt on, you've got your sweatpants on with the stain on. I mean, you've got your pants hanging down past, I don't even know what it is they have now, past your boxers, underwear, whatever it is that they're wearing, and you're trying to get out there and you want to make some type of big deal. Is someone actually going to take you seriously based upon what you dress? You can be the most knowledgeable person in the area. You can help have S-curve results to where people have double-figure increases in their business. But if you look like, and I'm just going to come out and say it, look like a chump on the outside, no one's going to take you seriously. So dress for success and do your best to actually speak the part. And I've told many people so often, I've told guys that have come to me in job interviews, I don't care if you've got a T-shirt and it's a white T-shirt and a pair of jeans and you only have a pair of tennis shoes. Have a belt on, have that T-shirt ironed, and have those jeans to where they're starched and those pressed. Because I look to how you try to present yourself, even with the least amount that you have, and the commitment and the determination that you have before I actually made a decision whether I was going to hire someone. So expect good constructive feedback. And then how much time will you set aside, for yourself to actually gain a perspective, to develop your strategy and your vision? You've got to take time each and every day to see, okay, am I going where I need to go? Okay, am I doing what's necessary to bring about this vision that I have for my life? Do I need to actually alternate the strategy that I have? Do I need to actually possibly just see that, okay, maybe I'm doing things just out of reaction instead of being proactive in it? But you actually have to set time aside. And a lot of these things may be simplistic, but it's a lot of times in the simplicity that a lot of us actually get tripped up. Because why? We think that to get to a certain area in our lives, especially when it comes to success, it's got to be complicated. But success isn't complicated. Like I said, it's intentionally doing what's necessary each and every day to get to where you want to go. And then, of course, what is your contribution? What is going to be your overall contribution to making that impact when you are successful? In your mind, your full level of success. What is going to be your contribution? Is it about just you, or as they say, me, my four, and no more? Or is it actually to make a definite impact? Are you going to be a mentor, open maybe a school, start a coaching program? Are you going to have a brick and mortar business? Are you going to be someone that's touring on public speaking engagements? Whatever it is, okay? Are you going to be going around the country, around the world, selling books? Whatever you must do, think about what it is, what type of impact that you're going to make. What is your contribution, okay? And then, of course, how can you actually support your peers, possible people that have mentored you or your supervisors and, other teams to achieve their objectives? I mean, that's in a nutshell. Why do people actually fear success? Because why? Comfort zone, it takes work, and the fear of also actually thinking about giving it away. The one thing a lot, as far as like in the Bible, when God actually promised Abraham Isaac, and then when he went on Mount Moriah, he said to sacrifice Isaac. And then when he actually went up there and he was ready to give away the thing that he had longed for the most, and then God gave him that ram in the bush, and then all of a sudden God let him know that God knew that he was first place in Abraham's life, because he was about to ready to give away the greatest thing. Then guess what? When it finds out, when you reach that level of success and you are able to give away the greatest thing, then you'll find out success will come beating even more so on your door. So family, I thank you so much for connecting with us today. And I thank you for when you tune in tomorrow on Halfway There Wednesday. But you're in your moment right now. We'll see you tomorrow, and take care.